Hello, WDIK listener. It's great to be here again. It's May 2024. This is another episode of What Do I Know? WDIK with your one and only host, Orchestra. For your questions, comments, or feedback on any of my past episodes, feel free to email me at whatdoiknow@orchestrashow.com or WDIK at orchestrashow.com. That is OKESTRASHOW.com. Now, on to today's episode. This is my birthday week, and on this episode, I will be talking about a topic that we briefly mentioned during our last episode. That is maternal mortality. Simply, maternal mortality rates in the great US of A, to be specific, right? So right off the bat, I want to make it clear that I am no doctor, nor do I possess a medical degree. I am solely speaking from my experience and the work that I put in as I prepare for this episode. So in this context, when I say maternal mortality, I'm referring to the death of a mother as a result of pregnancy, childbirth, or any other related causes. So, just so that we are all on the same page as far as what I meant when I say maternal mortality, right? So, a pregnant woman, either before, during, or after giving birth, if they lose their life, this is what we consider to be a maternal mortality. When a woman dies in this circumstance, there's a high chance that a child or more, right, depending if they're having multiple children at the same time, a child or more are being left behind. Those children will never get to know their mother. The survivor and the livelihood of the child now becomes, the sole responsibility of the remaining parent or other relatives or the system, depending on the situation. Here's the fact that I thought I knew, but when I started preparing for this episode, I came to understand. Did you know that in 2020, for every 100,000 pregnancies, 223 resulted in the death of the mother? Out of every 100,000, 223 women lost their lives. While this number I just talked about is a major decrease compared to the year 2000's data, fortunately, North America, mainly the United States of America, experienced a major uptick in the last 20 years. The number of women that are dying from pregnancy-related causes in the United States more than doubled when we compare the data for year 2000 to the data for year 2020. Another data point, this time from CDC. CDC is the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. In 2018, they recorded 658 women died in the United States. And in 2021, that number, 658, went up to 1,205. The Journal of the American Medical Association, they conducted a study, and the study looks at state-by-state data from 2009 to 2019. And they found an unacceptable high mortality rate across the board. But the worst outcome were among Black women, meaning the data was looking at the entire United States. regardless of races, backgrounds. So the outcome of that data shows that Black women, Native American, Alaskan natives had the worst outcome, which means they were dying at a higher rate. The same report also shows that the Black population from the same year 2009 to 2019 experienced an increase of 9.6 to 20.9 for every 100,000 pregnant women. That's a high number. That's more than double the amount. That is a whopping increase of 118%. I was shocked when I came across this number. Like, if something like this is happening, why is nothing being done? Why are more of us not hearing about it? So here's another data. In 2021, 362 non-Hispanic Black women died of maternal causes in the United States. In 2021, 362 non-Hispanic Black women. Let's compare that data to 2018, where 206 died. Imagine if that number includes Black Hispanic women as well. Let that sink in. Now, don't even get me started on the ridiculously higher number as far as Nigeria is concerned. Nigeria, where more than 10%, yes, you heard me right, more than 10% of every 100,000 pregnancy resulted in the death of the mother in 2020 alone, just in 2020. That is more than 80,000 Nigerian women died as a result of childbirth in 2020. What is happening here? Why are 70 of every 100,000 Black women dying just because they are doing exactly what their body is uniquely designed to do flawlessly? Why? Why is this happening? That's 70 out of every 100,000. Yale Medicine, they found that one of the major causes of maternal death rate, it's heart disease. So that is one of the major causes here. They are pointing to heart disease, stroke as the leading causes of maternal mortality. Cardiomyopathy is the most common cause of death, 1 week to a year after delivery. They also found that hypertension can develop after 20 weeks of pregnancy. Those are some of the causes of maternal mortality. They also found that suicide and homicide are also major causes of maternal mortality. I also came across a study that says the number one cause of death for a pregnant woman is domestic violence, meaning either the spouse or somebody they know caused their death. These are some of the causes we found as main cause of maternal mortality. According to Dr. Rainford, the author of Pregnant While Black, Advancing Justice for Maternal Health in America, one of the main reasons is the cumulative physiology effect of chronic stress. That's what she found. Racism plays a part here, including those psychological and mental stressors that were passed down from generation to generation. I'm sure you yourself must have heard a report or two of Black men or women who reported their symptoms to their own doctor, their own very own doctor or caregivers. They didn't believe them. You also may have heard reports of black patients that their cries for help were being ignored or assumed to be a way for them to score narcotics for resale or feed their other addictions. All this extend to pregnant black women as well. Another factor also found is overt and implicit bias from healthcare provider. In this case, the healthcare provider truly believe that what he or she is doing or the care that he or she is providing is the very best care for the pregnant patient, while he or she is completely blinded by their implicit bias against the woman's race. They have no idea that their own bias is affecting the care that they are delivering. I'm sure you remember back in the days, back in the late 1700s, I believe, that black people were assumed to be immune to yellow fever. Yeah, that happened. Yeah. Also, I'm sure you also remember in the late 1800s when the assumption was also made that black people were immune to smallpox. Well, I just talked about 1700, 1800s, to 1800s, right? You may also know about the Tuskegee syphilis study, which caused the death of many black men who were intentionally left without treatment. Well, you might say, but back in the days, that's a long time ago. Do you remember the AIDS epidemic? That was 1980s. So you might also say, well, it's a long time ago, right? Good. I'll give you a more recent example. 2020, 2021, during the COVID-19 epidemic, there were rumors online. I read some of this myself, including on Black Twitter, that says that black people were immune to COVID. Then more data were being released. We were looking at people that are being infected, people that are dying, and we were looking at those data, and we found that actually it's the reverse. The reverse is the is the truth here. A higher number of black people were being reported contracted COVID or dying from COVID. Guess what? Another assumption was developed around that time. They now said, well, maybe black people were predisposed to COVID, and because of that, they were the ones spreading COVID-19. But the truth at the time was that black people were at higher risk of COVID because they were more likely to be essential workers. Yes, black people were essential workers. More of the essential workers are black. And they were not able to stay home. So it makes sense that they were contracting COVID and they were dying from COVID. So I have some more facts for you here, right? Here's some more facts for you. Black and white people do not experience the illness the same way. Meaning, a black person with COVID, just using an example here, can express or experience different symptoms and show different signs compared to a white person. When doctors are trained, they will seem to primarily train them on white bodies. When you go to college, the training were being conducted on white bodies. The other day, I heard a report about a simple device that's being used today in many healthcare facilities. The device is used to measure the amount of oxygen in red blood cells. I believe it's called a pulse oximeter. I believe that's what it's called. I heard a report of a study that had been conducted using this oximeter on a white and a black bodies. The readings were different based on the color of the body. Let me explain what I'm talking about here. The oximeter basically measures the oxygen level through your body. So a white body's measurements were more accurate because this tool was designed better on a white person compared to a black body. The readings were not accurate on a black person. That's just an example. There is an unspoken belief in the medical world that black patients tend to exaggerate their pains and they have a higher tolerance for pain. It's not common. It's not been said, out loud, but yes, the belief exists. I'm sure many of you remember recently the story of Serena Williams when she was giving a detailed account of her experience giving birth. She claimed that she lacked advocacy and she had to advocate for herself as she experienced pulmonary embolism. This is a blood clot in her lungs when she was giving birth. Yeah. When I first heard that story, I'm like, thank God that she is a celebrity. I'm sure she probably went to one of the best hospitals to give birth to that child. So imagine if she does not have the status. At this point, we all know that the horse is dead. And it's needless to continue to beat the dead horse. We all agree that this is a problem that must be nipped ASAP. So, what can we do here? What can be done here? What I think can be done in this area. If we are truly serious about making a real dent in the rate maternal mortality, some of my suggestions of what I think we could do. I recommend early and regular prenatal care for every pregnant woman. Meaning, as early as 12 weeks into the pregnancy, I encourage a pregnant lady to seek prenatal care. I remember my wife and I attended almost every single prenatal care appointment together. As I mentioned in the previous episode, we actually discovered that our first child was arriving early during one of those prenatal care visits. And we quickly went to the hospital and we had that child that day. I'll say be sure to start your prenatal care within the first 12 weeks of pregnancy and keep all your follow-up appointments. Next, I'll suggest remove or temporarily lock away all guns during pregnancy. If you have a gun in your home, give it to somebody else temporarily to hold for you. Save it, put it in a safe, away from easy access, at least for the next few months after the delivery. The postpartum period can be tough on some women. Some may go through depression. So don't make it easier for them. Don't make it easier for yourself to access a weapon that can harm you. So remove them or temporarily lock them away. Next, ladies, please pay attention to your instincts. Be it when you are meeting your doctor or when you are meeting with your prenatal care provider. Pay attention to your own instinct to what your body is saying. You will see signs. If you see signs in a doctor or in a caregiver that this person are not going to listen to you when it matters most, if they're not listening to you now, definitely they won't listen when you really need them to listen. If they are not taking what you are saying seriously, or if you are telling them the sign and symptoms that you are seeing and they are being dismissed, pay attention. Your body your instinct will tell you run. So please do run. Make that decision immediately. Don't wait till when it's too late. For those that can afford it, I encourage you, hire a doula. A doula is someone that can advocate for you, that can speak for you, someone have the experience of what it's like. They've been through this, they are professionals in this area. They are knowledgeable and they have experience and they can speak for you in that room when the time comes. When you're in the labor room and doctors are making decisions, they are making calls, and you are out of it. You are being consumed by the pain of childbirth. A doula can speak for you. They can advocate for you. Next, we need not treat pregnancy like a disease. Pregnancy is not a disease. It must be treated as a normal human condition. But while researching this episode, I found reports of some medical requirements and expectations that are actually contributing to higher chances of maternal mortality. When a pregnant person approaches, or should I say, when people, maybe not a pregnant person, when people approaches pregnancy as a disease, it tends to lead us to relate pregnancy with fear and negativity. Pregnancy is not a disease. We should not treat it as one. Let's encourage more Black people to go into the medical field and volunteer for medical research and trials in any way possible. The more experience that doctors have earlier on in their study with Black bodies, the better doctor they will make when they get out there and start practicing. So let's encourage ourselves as Black people to volunteer. Let our children go into the medical field as well. Let them become doctors in various areas, medical technology development as well. Having a good mental health is serious here. Talk to your therapist. Unburden yourself of unnecessary baggage. That way, we can birth better days ahead. So, see a therapist, have a conversation, talk about what's on your mind, talk about things that you are going through. And over time, all these decades of stress that's been compounded on us, we can unburden them, we can let them go. I also read during the preparation for this episode that the years of stress on a Black person make them 10 years older, right, psychologically, mentally, than a white person of the same age. You're already in the race handicapped. So let's get our mental health right. All right. Thank you. Those my advice on what I think we could do, or some of the solutions I think can help us reduce the mortality rate for pregnant women in the Black community. I would like to take this opportunity to say a huge congratulations to the Ogunbajos as they welcome their second child on my birthday. Baby Ogunbajo arrived at 14 inches tall and weighing 5.95 pounds. Welcome, baby girl. As your uncle and your birthmate, I'm really looking forward to welcoming you and meeting you. Okay? Hey, Nadia, give the baby a big kiss for me. All right. When the night finally becomes day, don't worry about me. What do I know, right? I'm just a husband, a father of 3 amazing boys, and I'm here sharing what I know, helping just one person out there. Be fruitful and multiply, says the Bible. It shouldn't be this difficult for us. That's our show for you today. Thank you for joining us again, and thank you for listening to What Do I Know? I'm your humble host, Orchestra. Please email us your comments and question. What do I know at orchestrashow.com. WDIK at orchestrashow.com. That is OKESTRASHOW.com. Thank you. See you next time.